Welcome to another week, another episode of the Ball at All Cost podcast. We are 50, guys. This is our 50th episode. Can you believe that? 50. Round of applause to us. Round of applause. And just because it's our 50th, thank you very much. Just because it's our 50th, we've got the most number of people on the podcast we could get. We needed to get some big hitters in, so we've done it. Welcome, Junior. Welcome, Jevaze. Welcome, Born to Ball.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you for having us, my man. Thank you for having us.
Welcome.
Finally, what's it called? Seeing all of the faces, familiar faces that I didn't even know would be on here. It's it's a surprise. It's a surprise, but yeah, a good surprise.
I'm glad it's a good surprise. So listen, we've got our esteemed panelists as always. Welcome, gentlemen. And as we like to do, excuse me, each week we do our check-ins. It's important. Busy weekend of football for everybody. I'm not going to mention Jevaze just slipped up his top, but we keep it moving. He's a guest, so I won't go into that anymore. But guys, before we do our check-ins, you know the routine by now. It's Ball at All Costs. We're 50 episodes in, and I don't think everyone who's listening has hit that subscribe button. So if you haven't, please do so now. We really appreciate that. Down there, is it down there, Deji? Hit a like, leave a comment, and hit the notification. And if you're listening on the audio feed, you know what to do as well. Please follow us, leave a like, and leave a review. 5 stars, because we give you 5-star content. So let's do our check-in, guys. It's been a busy weekend. We're not going to spend too long here, but I think it's important that we do it. So I'm going to start with you, Deji, because you're top of my screen.
Yeah, busy weekend of football. District game yesterday at Palace. Yeah, it was not bad. We took 2 teams actually to
the tournament.
District tournament. We had 2 teams. The only borough that had 2 teams, and one of the teams got to the semi-final, and the one that my son was in got to the final. Unfortunately, lost to Islington. Good team, Islington. They can pop ball, so respect to them. But it would be interesting to see Islington when they play the Thurrock kind of team together, because obviously the 2 teams were kind of diluted a bit, but I mean that in a genuine way. And then today, unfortunately, referee decisions got a draw against the opposition. Some of the refereeing decisions this season, I have to say, look, it's kids football, but I'm starting to feel like parents, referees are interfering with the development of the boys. When the parents or referees are getting more thrills than the kids, then you know you've got a problem. And so I'm just sticking it out there. Some of these people, I don't know what they're doing, but hey, Dan, we need to do a little safeguarding check on some of these parents and refs, because it's just getting on my nerves, to be honest.
Deji, were you away?
We were away.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my bug. It was a draw. So it wasn't all bad, but shocking.
That's what happens when you've got the target on your back, my friend. I warned you.
Well, the target's not on my back. The target's on the top of the table. Who didn't win either today. So yeah, it's interesting. We're just like I said to you, we're just small boys trying to follow in your footsteps.
Move on. AKA Just a Dad. How you doing, Dan?
I'm good. Thank you for Deji's Corner. Yeah. Rant TV. I'm football. I don't know. I need some therapy, mental health therapy. I need some guidance. I need some guidance, man. I hear you, Deji. Referee decisions. We had it today. I'm kind of past that now. I'm like, you know what? Let him just play. Whatever K does, I take the positives from there. Then we go in again next week. We lost 1-0. I think a penalty in the last minute today. But we should have won about 6 or 7-1 anyway. So it made no difference. But it's all good. We're here, loving life. What else can you say? I keep it sweet. I keep it sweet and short, Dej. You did it for me today.
Hey, Dan, man, I'm me and you were on the same page, man. I have to link up with you this week, man. This is just shocking.
Deji, you've had your 5 minutes, mate. Tom, how you doing?
Good boys. Been a good week. 5 games between the Bassett boys this weekend. So 2 wins for Jen, 2 wins for Piers, and a loss for me. So yeah, not great. I let the team down, to be
I was
fair.
going to say.
But yeah, good. It's been a good weekend. So pleased to be here, and great to have Junior. He's a friend as well. So looking forward to having him on the pod today.
Okay, brilliant. How you doing, Junior?
Good. Busy weekend. So I think we'll touch on it later. So yesterday was I done like kind of the admin / organization of Ethan Adewale's celebration of his 10th birthday, which Ochi was at with his boy. But those of you that obviously don't know Ethan's story, Ethan was part of our academy at Cholton as an under 10, and he passed away earlier in the late last year. So it basically would have been 10 on Thursday, just gone. So there was a big kind of tournament. Was helping involved in the running of that. Some really good clubs was there. 2 Cholton teams. Tottenham was there. Finesse, and all the boys. All of the clubs were just carrying like academy players, basically Arsenal, Chelsea players and stuff. So I was there most of the day on yesterday. Ended up with good food, so that was good. And then today I had today off to spend a bit of time with my daughter, who played, and she's doing well. But it was quite interesting because I was playing against a Dartford team that had 10 players. It was a top of the table game, so she's just joined a team that's one of the best teams in Kent. And it was watching from the sideline. This is probably a moment not to say what I really think, but it was slightly frustrating to see how they couldn't take advantage of the extra player overload. So that was that. That took me. So that was that, and then I had the pleasure of watching Manchester United v Arsenal, which I thought was a fantastic performance from Manchester United. And yeah, top performance.
First yellow card of the day, because we don't mention clubs. You weren't warned.
I was going to say that. I was going to no one warned Junior. We don't do that here, but you're
so it's free. It's fine. It's fine.
It's free.
Sorry, I didn't know what that was just part of my afternoon. You don't do that.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. Anyway, that was it was a good weekend.
So on to Jevaze then.
Well, busy weekend also. I took a team to Ethan's tournament. So busy weekend there. Really strong teams, as Junior's mentioned, much of it, and great honour of Ethan. I think the boys really, appreciated each other and the fact that they put on such a great event. Junior did brilliantly, by the way, in organising the flow, the environment, just the general energy and ethos. It was great for Ethan and his family. I think my team did really well, actually. We topped our group, but you know how tournament football is. Sometimes chances need to be taken. It was one of them. We had great chances in the semi, and the other team just capitalised. So yeah, unfortunately, we was out early group stage. But on to today, my son played. He's at a Cat 1 academy, so I had the pleasure of driving 2.5 to 3 hours after the tournament to go and stay overnight, to be in the area for the match in the morning.
Yeah. Which
unfortunately they lost their game, but the silver lining is he scored and actually performed really well. So I'm holding on to that as the positive of the weekend today, considering a team that I also follow have been destroyed at their home ground. So,
beaten.
I'm getting over that.
Fair enough. OC, how you doing?
It is therapy, isn't it? It is a therapy session, because I think all our teams seem to be struggling at the minute. But do you know what? Weekend was jam-packed, busy weekend. I'll start off with today because my boy, he played against his former team today.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, big game for him. Secretly, I wanted him to. I'm not really into the results in it, but secretly, I did want him to win. And the boys pulled it out today. It was a performance. Really the team just came together. Some nice goals.
Wow.
It's a really, really top team. They're a fantastic side. They have got some great players, but they nullified them. And little man was happy, as was Tom's boy in goal. So yeah, that was quite a nice day. And
what was the score? Sorry, what was the score? Sorry.
Don't get into scores. But listen, it was 2-1, so it was a tight game. Probably 4-1 would have been a better reflection, but I'll leave that. I'll leave that there. Listen, Junior and Jevaze spoke about it yesterday, but that yesterday was a beautiful occasion, you know. The day to sort of just celebrate Ethan's birthday, set up the inaugural event of his foundation, EA Smile Foundation. I think it was top, just from the teams and the talent that was there, all the parents and the coaches that came, beautiful words that were spoken about Ethan, loads of tears, loads of laughs, and loads of smiles, which is what we know Ethan for, which was really good. My boy Isaac played with Ethan in Proverbs. When he was in pre-academy in Charlton, he also played a bit with him there. And they went to the same school as well. So my boy's a year younger than Ethan. And he managed to make his debut with his school yesterday. So it's a year 5 and 16, but they allowed a year 4 to sneak in. And I think he done Ethan proud yesterday, you know. Really, really good. So top weekend all round, I would say.
Well, yes. Well, shout out to you, Junior, because it sounds like you put on a fantastic experience, celebration for Ethan. I'm sure his family were happy with that. And this is what it's really all about, isn't it? It's about community. It's about bringing people together. It's about fun and enjoyment. That's what football is, really and truly. We do get carried away with it at some times, especially when money gets involved. But ultimately, this is what it's about. So well done, you. And I'm glad you've had that. And will it be an annual affair? Do we think?
I believe,
or is that an exclusive?
I believe that the family have got Ade's got some big plans. So I think it was just a start. Watch this space. But I think there's certainly going to be a lot more things going on. So I think it's going to be bigger and even better in the future. So I'm rightly so. But watch this space.
And happy having birthday, Ethan. So, Born to Ball, Junior and Jevaze. Yes. Thank you for coming on. And sorry we surprised you, Junior. You didn't realize you were coming on this podcast.
Yeah, I realized that it was a big one for you guys. It's the 50th one, which is fantastic. And on 2 different occasions, I spoke to Tom because I coached gents. Was it when he was at the pre-academy at Charlton? Tom.
That was it.
So I knew Tom from there, and Isaac, Ochi's boy, was at Charlton as well. So I knew them both differently from there. On different occasions, I don't know if they knew, but they both mentioned about this podcast, okay. 2 separately. And then I turn up. Obviously, let's come on, and you're on there, and I can't coach your son. So it's a small world. So
just a quick one, Jay. Leave it as OC because you're butchering the name. Yeah, so like OC. Yeah,
OC's fine. Yeah, that's why you shortened it. My bad. OC. Let's keep it as that. Sorry, Bobo.
No, you're good.
Oh, good. So I mean, you touched on it. So we'll start with you, Junior. Obviously, currently coaching in the academy. But where did your journey begin? And were your playing career before your coaching career? So how did you get into football? What did you do in football? And then how did you get into coaching?
So I probably guess I started playing. I've got a younger brother. He was a couple of years younger than me. And we was just out, just playing. I think I've spoken about it before, like another podcast. I used to have, remember Roberto Baggio?
Yep.
Yeah, so I used to have like the plaits like him and little beads on the end.
I can see it.
Yeah, so I used to think I was Roberto Baggio. I was out like playing like that. There's a bit of grass outside the house. I was with him and a few of our friends. We just play out loads on the grass and that. Play out in the park with my dad. So it was like competitive from then. Like snooker was competitive, games are competitive. Monopoly balls were getting tipped up by me. I was competitive from when I was like quite young, to be fair. And then I played like didn't really play on a Sunday because I used to go to church on a Sunday. So it was just mostly I played through my school, then district, and then I was with Charlton for a period of time, had a long trial there. And at that time, I think that, as we know, like football's, as Tom would have played, and I'm sure if you would have played, football now is very different to what it was like, say 20, 30 years ago in terms of like profiles, even the style of play. So I'm no giant, as you would know, Andrew. So it's like, I was more of a technical player, to be honest with you then. And when I was told, you're a bit small, that kind of like, that hurt me, to be honest with you. So I was like, kind of stopped playing, probably when I was about 15 for a period of time. Went away and just kind of stepped away from football and just done whatever I wanted, what young boys do, going out, Ibiza, Ryan Appa, all of that type of malarkey and stuff. Yeah. And then Deji Spurs is laughing, so he knows what I mean. So I was out doing all that type of stuff. And then I came back to play like on a Sunday, and then I started doing my fitness and started playing like non-league for like semi-pro for like Sevenoaks Town, Cray Wanderers, you may have heard of, Greenwich Borough. So that type of level there. So I played that for a period of time. And then, I started to pick up back niggles and stuff, and then stopped playing from there. But that was the playing side. So I played like non-league really, mostly.
Brilliant. And when did you think you'd get into coaching?
So, because I know I was coming out, I was tracing it back actually. And I guess it was around like, the Olympics, London 2012, there was a discount on some coaching courses, like, because it was like they was promoting stuff. So I thought to myself, do you know what? Like, why not? Why not? So I thought it's a discounted course. So I think I've done my level 1 from there and level 2 shortly after. From there, I met someone on the course who was at Bromley Town. He'd done the under 13s there. So I started, like, his dad was a scaffolder. They were scaffolders. And he goes, like, come and like assist us and blah, blah, blah. So within like a couple of weeks, the dad had stopped. Liam, his name was. So the dad had stopped. So I'm working with the guy. And we were, so that was a good team. Won the Kent Youth League with them as assistant coach. But how can I put it? I thought I wanted to give the boys more. Like, and I think like when you're an assistant coach, like you have good relationships with the players and stuff, but you don't make all the calls around training sessions, particularly for like grassroots. So it was in the Kent Youth League, but you're often like supporting and stuff like that. And so, the second year I could see that the way that it was kind of going, it was like the boys weren't enjoying it as much, and like it was quite results driven. And we had a boy signed to Millwall who now he's actually at Charlton in the first team. So we've kind of come full circle to give him lifts as a 13-year-old, and now he's just signed for like over £1 million for Charlton. So I used to give him lifts and stuff, and then I was asked if I'd take my own under 13s team, like in the Kent Youth League, called Brad and Ropes. Yeah. So I went over to there, coached them, went all the way through to like won that Kent Youth League under 15s, the London Cup under 18s, and then I become first team manager there. So I managed in the FA Cup. So I was the only person I think to win an FA Cup game in their history, which is a nice touch. But starting that off from scratch wasn't an easy call. And I remember putting an advert out like for players, and my friend's wife was working at a school, and going through her to get players in, and I was standing at Charlton Park, like not knowing who was going to turn up. Didn't know. Like, a few people said, we can come, we'll email, blah, blah, blah. And then I think the first session I had about 8 boys, and then this is in Charlton, and boys are turning up in their school uniform just to kick ball, like, so it was like literally from the ground, like, to grow it. So to win things with them was great. Be responsible for your environment was amazing. You learn how to speak to players, speak to parents. I think you're dealing with people, aren't you, in football? So I guess it's So I think that was a good experience there. And then at that time, during that period as well, I went on to someone I knew from Bromley said, we've got an opportunity at a development centre in Whiteleaf for Brighton. Yeah. So I went there, and then that went really well. Head of coaching there was like there in the setup, and from there I went into the pre-academy. Then I was an academy coach there for 4 years. COVID come around, had a bit of a break, and then obviously football stopped, and I went to Charlton, and this is my 5th season at Charlton. So, yeah, that's
quite a lot there.
Yeah, there's quite a lot there, mate. I tried to keep it as succinct as possible, but yeah, a bit long, but yeah, that's part of it.
No, that's perfect. Just touching on, because there's some fabulous experience there. And like you say, you've dealt with parents, you've dealt with the complete environment. And one of the other things you said, you managed an FA Cup game. So you managed adults as well as kids. Yeah. So you've kind of got the full spectrum there, because you've touched on pre-academy as well. So you've seen them from the babies, literally, all the way through to adults. So, and parents throughout that journey. So that's brilliant. I'm going to leave it there with you, Junior. And then I'm going to move over to Jevaze, and then we're going to talk about his journey and then move on to Born to Ball, I think.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, I started playing football competitively kind of late, I think, under 8s, under 9s. But from the age of 5, 6, I was kicking a ball, interested in the game, but there wasn't much setups in my local area to kind of get the exposure to more training at the time. Playing in school, I did get noticed, got selected for a local team really young, ended up being picked up for like an Arsenal development. So ended up going to Arsenal on like Junior mentioned, at the time, the setups was completely different as well. So you didn't have the pre-academy setup that we have today. It was complete different infrastructures, but had a little experience there for 3 or 4 months. Met some players, had some stadium tours, got some match days. So got like a love for the game, really, really young. Progressed through playing around the North London area, even though I'm from South, because I got put into like a Arsenal development league that they have or had. And yeah, a few things happen in life, puberty, variety of different challenges. I won't go into too much, but I had a child very young, which actually kind of derailed my focus of football at the time.
Of course, yeah.
But I did actually still enjoy the game, had opportunities. I was at Charlton on a trial for a while as well, like Junior mentioned. So there was a lot of synergies when I met Junior, and we'll get into that. But so after my first child that I had when I was really young, stayed engaged with football, watching, playing when I could, but not as often. Until I'd say early 2017, 2018, started getting interest deeper back into the game, about how I could get more involved with the game.
Yeah.
Had my son in 2015, and he's a boy. I saw physical attributes in him from a young age, and a keenness for the ball from really young. I'm talking like 3-4 years old, and thought from there, a pathway for development for him and getting myself more knowledgeable. So kind of went down a rabbit hole of learning more about the game and a deeper technical understanding. And I've been partnering up with coaches and going on courses to kind of educate myself more.
Okay, brilliant. And I'm going to say it because you didn't. Your son's currently at Cat 1 Academy.
Yeah. My son's currently Cat 1, signed at an academy. And I might mention I did assistant coach and coach the grassroots teams that he was at, and played a kind of a fundamental role in helping shape that development for him in the early stages. And credit to the clubs and the other parents that assisted as well. Really appreciate everything that they do and have done, and the environments that he's been able to thrive in.
Okay, brilliant. We'll get into that a bit more, I'm sure. But as we've got a jam-packed show today, I just want to go straight into how did Born to Ball come about? Because obviously you've touched on how you and Junior first interacted, and the synergies there. You were doing your thing with your son, Junior was doing his thing, and I know there's one other member of this team. But how did Born to Ball come about? Who wants to take that one?
Yeah, I'll do it. So I think so initially it's a Declan, who's a top guy, to be fair. He's I think there was a parent actually that said, "Oh, you and Declan would work really well together with your how you are, like the different things that you bring to the table." So we had a meeting and stuff, had a few conversations. We'd met previously. I think he was a pre-academy coach at Charlton. So we had a conversation, a couple of conversations on the phone, and then we met up. And then we thought about how what we'd want it to look like, because he does a lot of technical, a lot of technical stuff, which there probably isn't enough of in academies, if I'm being honest with you. And he's very good at demoing. Like he enjoys a demo. So much so that as Jevaze will say, when it comes, we sometimes do, like Jevaze will be in goal at one end and Declan will be at one at the other, and it gets quite competitive. And some of the boys are quite competitive as well. So there's a few 9-year-olds going in ankle high on Declan, and almost taken that a couple of times. So yeah, we like the technical side of it. So, and obviously for my side, so we thought about, and so Jevaze, where Jevaze came in, it was like we was talking about kind of like when you look at the 4-corner model in terms of technical, tactical, physical, and psychological. Most of you will know, if your sons are in the environment or kind of around development, you'll know that's the 4-corner model. So if we were looking at delivering across the 4 corners, so you might see a lot of stuff on Instagram, which is like technical, which is like kids just doing ball mastery, like going nowhere, doing ball mastery because it looks sexy on the camera, but couldn't really affect the game. Like, and that's like a tactical aspect in terms of like what's required at that moment. So that's like individual tactical and stuff around movement, which is obviously a movement skill is not really seen as sexy, but it's very, movement skills and observational skills are really important skills in football. And obviously we will touch on that later. And then obviously the physical side, as you know, it's a physical game. You need to be able to run, you need to be able to move, change direction. And that's where like Jevaze came in around that area there. So we try and cover that. And then the psychological side is making sure that the kids feel good, to be honest. When they come to our sessions, they have a good time. So it's like we'll play like I don't think your boys have come there before, but it's just like there's like certain elements of it. We've got a speaker, so some music's played at certain parts.
There's vibes. It's high energy. It's high intensity. It is again focused learning. But
so it's the type of music that we want to listen to. So it's not the type of music that's just like you traditionally might hear just playing on the radio. So if you're coming, the experience you have is something different. So there'll be games that we'll play with them, like Shoot the Elf, where they win gift cards, all types of different things where you're creating you're creating memories for them. So it's not just about, the football's important and development's important and nailing certain things, yes. But anytime they come away, they've come away having a good time. So that's what we're kind of going after.
Anything to add to that, Jevaze, before I ask another question?
Just seconding what Junior said and kind of doubling back on what I said about being involved heavily with the environments that, my son's thrived in and how he's managed to develop, I think, really well in a short space of time. He's only been playing competitively for 3 years now. So I have a big focus on that psychological part and that physical part with the development, and Junior's experience is paramount to, encompassing all of that in an environment where boys are having fun, learning and expressing themselves.
Okay. Sounds great. I actually saw, I'm not going to lie, I saw your page. I followed your page. Thanks, OC. And then I saw the vibes. I saw your promo video. Tom sent it, but I did see it before, and I heard the songs. One of the songs we've used on our promo, so I know exactly what you mean. I can see the energy, the vibrations are there. So, yeah, in the summer, because we're a bit far, but in the summer, I'll bring him down and let him experience. Yeah, I'll bring him down. Yeah,
be an honor to have him, my man. Top player.
Thank you. So, who is it open to? Because I know a lot of these kind of academies. Obviously, you guys are in academies. You've got a wide berth of players you could probably request to come down, ask to come down, or invite down. But who can come to this? What age groups? Where are you? And is there a selection criteria, or are you open to all?
Yeah, so no, it's a good question to ask. So it's like, I guess it's evolved over time. So I think initially the idea was around it was for signed players. Like it was around for signed players. So it was almost a little bit, you could say it potentially could appear a little bit elitist. But how it's kind of evolved, and I think obviously Jevaze can speak on this as well. It's like with discussions, and as you know, there's a certain academy players, there's a certain amount in London, but the reality is there's a lot more grassroots players playing. Do you know what I mean? The system is bigger, so it's like who it's for. It's for if signed players, we want signed players, but also kind of help players with talent, like
bridge that gap.
Look with players with talent, kind of work them towards being signed. Like so, and then obviously because if you have as it grows, we'll see how it looks, and we might start doing there's plans to get bigger and bigger, and potentially do girls and potentially do grassroots clubs and support more people. But as it is at the moment, what we've got at the moment is signed players, and then people like we kind of even people that you may well know one of them. He's kind of came about 7-8 months ago. People couldn't really see that much in him, and kind of built him up between the three of us, and he's now a signed player. And nobody really saw it in him, but I could see something in him, and so that was really a nice moment to get him signed. So it's like if you work in the right way, in a good way, and you've got the knowledge, and it's a good environment, and you're supporting them in the right way, it can be done. So it's about working in the right way and giving people opportunities, as well as developing elite players.
Okay, brilliant. Love to send that and shout to that bit of success. I think I know the player. Done well, good player, and expecting big things. And even more so now that you've told me this. So
exactly.
Yeah. And as we've grown, I will mention, as we've grown, equally we've expanded to some younger age groups now, helping support that pre-academy development.
Yes.
Just understanding that there's boys that might not get the offer, but still have the technical, the drive, and the passion for the game that can be developed. So open to supporting those players that, again, deserve the opportunity.
So I'd say it's probably from under eights. To be fair, we've had under 4s and 6s at the last Christmas camp, and that was interesting. That was fun. There's some real talented players. Again, it's different. It's a very different in terms of like how you deliver, what type of session it is. If you're dealing with an under 4 to 5 to 6 who's got their first experience with a ball, and it should just be about a love of the ball. And then basically that was our first experience of that. So Declan knows a lot of those type of players. So it's tended to be in the main under 8s through to under 13s, but some under 14s do come. So we've got them in their own different age groups, and so that's what it is at the moment. But as with anything, we'll grow it and see where we go with it.
And where are you based? This is important for the question that Deji will surely ask later on. Where is Born to Ball based? So
we've got 2 sites, but the first site, the main site, is 5 minutes from Cheltenham's training grounds, so in southeast London. So it's in a place. I'll shout out the place, Cold Harbour Leisure Centre. They'll be happy with that. The main receptionist there's been there a long time, so we've got a great relationship with her, Sandra. So we were at Cold Harbour at the moment, which is 5 minutes from Charlton's training ground, and we've done some sessions, like a couple of back at Declan and another guy who's kind of works with us, Darren, in Croydon as well. So yeah, they're the two sites that we've worked from at the moment.
Okay, brilliant. So the floor is now open, Junior. OC's got a question. I can see he's taking himself off mute. I'm just going to warn you both. We're going to go left and we're going to go right. So it's going to be born to ball. It's going to be academy. It's going to be all sorts of questions. So prepare yourselves, gentlemen.
Yeah. My boy has come down. He came down to Born to Ball, you guys. Ethan was there so that day. Top session, I remember. When he was back in Charlton doing the pre-academy stuff with yourself, Junior. And another one, actually. So you mentioned how you got into coaching. Do you know what? I probably processed your funding for how you got your coaching. Because
really?
It was called the Mayor's Legacy Fund.
100%.
Yeah. What you did is you volunteered coaching hours into a club, and in return you got a coaching qualification subsidised. So yeah, I did.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah, I done my level 1 back in 2011. Should have done my level 2, didn't do it. But if you check your emails, probably got my name on it, Junior. That was my first proper job, like up city. That was actually so
amazing. I do remember. That's exactly what it was. Mayor's Legacy. I remember it. For Greenwich.
That's a good little connection there. But do you know what? Excited to have you guys on. I feel like the passion is there, the knowledge is there, and obviously, like you guys are well regarded and well respected across the community. So my first question would be, just in terms of Born to Ball, you guys get top talent that come across. You've mentioned it, grassroots and signed. Why is it that they come to see you guys and trust you guys? Because there's a lot of people that are delivering in South London. Why do they come to see you guys in particular? What is it that is unique that you guys offer?
I don't want to take all the floor. I'll let Jevaze give his views on it first, and then I'll if he misses anything out, then I'll say my piece. Jevaze, why do you think they come?
Well, again, big part is the environment. The variety of coaching that we have in our syllabuses. So you do have different elements that is kind of encompassed holistically. So you'd have your detailed technical, you'd have your tactical, and then you'd have some movement biomechanics, which, as a footballer, you're going to need. So with that, we throw in some elements of fun and get the boys engaging with each other. I think where we have set a standard of high-level boys coming, and the competitiveness is there, it kind of has just grown organically via word of mouth because our boys tend to be doing well. So I do think that is a part of it.
So for me, first, I think the big thing is it's not an experience that you'll get at every place has got its different ways of working. So for me personally, I'm not on social media personally. It's got great uses. And I've just come on LinkedIn, so I've started to get on LinkedIn and started to do a little bit of it because it is good for like promoting what you do and stuff like that. But it's like, for me, I want it to be like something that the kids kind of go away and they've got a great memory of. So it's more about the person. So it's like Declan will deliver a lot of the technical, which is not, and I've been doing it in academy system for a while. So you don't really see the level of detail that he's got with the technical. You don't get that, that type of delivery. You get the plyometrics, or the athletics, you might have to go and do that somewhere else, like and do your S&C training or your speed training. But Jevaze will deliver that. And then obviously I'll deliver sessions that are like what I deliver in academy sessions, like in academies that I've delivered for like years, and I'll pick up new bits. So they're getting academy level sessions from myself and some of the information that they get in. And then you mix it in there that like it's competitive because they're at different clubs. So they know each other, but it's like there's good players playing against each other. And then, that's why I think it's going more at the moment. And
I'll add as well, I'll just throw it in there. We do often get drop-ins from other coaches or experienced individuals to come and partake in these sessions. So with that encompassed, I do think it kind of organically has grown and got people interested and consistent with coming.
That's big. I think you know what is when there's just like a synergy there. Do you understand? So obviously you guys have just come through along with Deck and Declan. I don't know if people call him Deck or not. I don't know why I said that, but
You butchered his name, bro.
I feel like there's just a synergy there. Do you know what I mean? And that when that comes together, and you guys have got your slightly different pockets, but
Yeah.
it's all like a singing choir come together. I feel like something special. Like, even with the name as well. Just love the name and like what it represents as well. Just in terms of so obviously the podcast is about helping parents along the journey and giving them a bit of information. I think you've done a good job so far. But no, not everyone can come down to Born to Ball. And you mentioned the psychological and the physical corners are like super important in terms of development. I was just going to ask, what do you think is a good sort of makeup or diet for players that sort of need to develop in those areas? Do you feel like a lot of it can be done at home? Do they need to be come to group sessions, or would you say one-to-ones are paramount? So I'll probably ask 4 questions in one. Can we do?
So what are the two sides you're talking about? The psychological corner and
well, sorry, let me rephrase that because it's probably a separate question. What do you think is adequate or optimal for like a player to develop? Say, for instance, they want to get into an academy. They're high level grassroots. They want to get into an academy.
Yeah.
What is optimal for them to deliver? I mean, to develop. Do you think that they need to be coming to group sessions and one-to-ones all the time, or what type of work can be done at home as well?
Yeah, it's a good question, and for me it comes down to, and it's the same in the academy system, and it doesn't always get the attention it potentially can get in my experience, and it's around what does the individual need. So each individual player will need different things. So if somebody is like he's a good technician, but he moves okay, he might need to work on his movement skills. That might be a thing that he needs to, and that can be worked on. If he's a good player, but his head goes down easily, and gets a bit soft, gets a bit emotional, maybe he needs to be work around that area. And told you're a top player, you need to have a stronger mentality. Come on. And it's the way that you wrap it up and you deliver it. So yeah, it's about understanding what each individual player needs. And if you're going to somewhere that's telling you need to do this, but they might be good at foot patterns, but they don't know what to do with it. They don't understand the game. They don't understand what to do with it. That might hold them back. So yeah, obviously, yeah, some clubs are just looking for movers, and so that's just, they're naturally blessed that way. So yeah, it's about, for me, it's about what does your son need to kind of improve him, and then like probably seeking it out. That might be just fun in the garden, work with his dad, because I know some kids that don't go anywhere, and their dad might just work with them in the garden, and people like the look of them, obviously, and then it might be a bit polished up, but it's about what the individual needs for me, and then finding the right support, whether that's a one-to-one coach, whether that's group sessions, someone that can help him tactically. Yeah, so it's about the individual.
Yeah. Again, I like that approach, and not like a snake oil salesman, isn't it? Where you're like, listen, come down, like have these sessions. I can drop you an £80 one-to-one type thing. So yeah, come down to them. Listen, there's a lot of people here, so just a quick one, probably more so for Jevaze. Listen, my boy's 8 years old. He's like under 9. And he's done well. And this week he's done a really good job just in terms of his mentality, and there's certain things that he's had to sort of deal with. But you sort of mentioned that's your bag, Jevaze, and I like the way that you weren't really coaching, but you just delved in, and now obviously you're owning it in your own right. But just in terms of that mentality, that psychological piece, how can we help our kids that perhaps they're struggling a little bit, or perhaps they're not showing enough intent in their game when you know it's there? Like, what are some things that you might do with your child that you could advise us parents?
Well, again, I'm not going to say I know it all, because I don't. And me and my son do have ups and downs sometimes, but generally, I do think focus on making it fun, focus on making it measurable for them so they can see their achievements and see the work that they're putting in is getting them somewhere. Again, we can get lost on results at times, but if individual effort and mentality is there, I think clap that more than the results to anything, you know. So little things that can help them, eating right, sleeping right, you know, having those conversations help their psychology, letting them know that it's okay to, you know, make a mistake. It's okay to fail. You know, it's okay to have bad days, but encompass the effort and the mentality that needs to be there to succeed. So I think if you set those as principles and set those as standards, even with the ups and downs, they kind of full circle get back to, okay, mentality, I need to focus. Regardless of whether I'm performing well or whether I'm not performing well. The focus and the mentality is, for them, something that they need to be aware of. Because I tell my son, at the moment, he's only his worst enemy, psychologically. And when he's fine, it's been a really good run recently, he's performing well. But he's aware of that now. And I've kind of given some little skills and tips for him to use. So again, meditation, I don't know if many do meditate, kind of training before training psychologically. So what does your session look like? What do you want out of yourself? You know, so they're preparing themselves psychologically before they're in the environment. So when they are there, it's not a shock when they're out of breath but need to keep going. They've thought about that before. So those little things that you're kind of planting, how can I say it? It's subconscious. So you're kind of just putting little things in the subconscious that they can then be aware of to manage psychologically when they encounter it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, do you know what? It does indeed, and I could delve into that a lot deeper, but I think parents just need to rewind the last 2 minutes and just take that in, because you gave a lot of gems there. But yeah, listen, let me hand over to one of the other guys. But yeah, thank you.
And thank you, Jevaze and Junior. It's a pleasure to have you both here. I'm just going to dive in with my questions. I should warn you both, I am very Essex heavy, and so there might be a question about South and East London. But before I do that, and also forgive the framing of my questions, but it is coming from a genuine place. So I do have some pet peeves, and so I'm going to throw one at you straight away. My son, actually, I think is very technical. I do think there's some movement issues, so it's quite interesting you, Junior, talking about that. My first question, though, is for me, it feels like the academy is the land of the giants. If you're not 6'3" and you're not looking like an NBA player, you don't get a sniff. So my first question to you both is, big or small, and bundled in, because I am the bundler, is it born to ball? And I know where that sentiment comes from, because real recognize real. Or is there an element of your organization that is also allows for manufacture?
Jevaze, you want to go first?
That was a broad question. When you mean manufacture, what exactly?
Well, born to ball, for me, I guess for me, I'm a purist in how I see the game. If you're a talented footballer, then you should be given almost like they should part the Red Sea for the ones who are born with the flair I didn't introduce myself earlier. My name is Degenio. So good they named me twice. So, but I'm seeing more days that there's Bambis kicking ball in the academies. There's no, they weren't born to ball. Do you get what I'm saying? But we're trying to turn them into ball.
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
And through my experience, I've seen, I won't say a fair balance, but I have seen, really small players who are technically gifted, given the opportunity. Some of them because of their game awareness, some of them because of their focus and intensity, and some of them, again, it isn't because they're not the same size as these guys, but it is their passion for the game, their passion for learning. And I think that does get looked at by academies. So it's not all just, giants, but it can seem like that.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the balance, does change throughout the age groups. So they do start profiling bigger as they get up in the age groups. Junior, I don't know if you want to add to that. As you
different clubs recruit differently. So, Deji, it's a good observation, and I was speaking to I was up in the northwest, speaking to one of the Manchester clubs who had been in the building a long time, and he was saying that they used to recruit lots of technicians, small technicians, like technical players that could handle the ball, and then they would just get beaten up. They get beaten up like around the 11, 12s, 13s. They get beaten up, and it wasn't a great look for them. And then they started recruiting differently, and then started recruiting bigger. And then ideally, for me, and this is what I think he comes to conclusion, it's just about a mix. It is about, this is what a very experienced person, been at the club for about 20 years, of a very big club. We had this conversation, and now, for me, my opinion on it is that it's about the kids' super strengths. So, and I was having this conversation with someone within my own club, and yeah, so you'll see some dots like Chelsea. You see a few dots, and they're technically amazing, and then you do see some big guys. So there is a for me it's about having a good mix, because you look at the best teams, there is a mix, and that should be reflected from top down. So yeah, I think there was a time when people did go for a lot of like you said, under the giants, a lot of the bigger boys, maybe some of the early maturers, and tried to develop and manufacture them, however you want to put it. But I think, I don't necessarily think that it's that all the time. Well, I know it's not that all the time. In my experience, well, I don't believe it's, because obviously I'm in the environment. I don't think that is the case, and that's not how we work at Charlton. But yeah, there was definitely a period of time where I think that was what people was going for.
For real. Thank you. No, thank you for being honest. And it's just one of the things that I will continue to kind of push and hear different opinions. But thank you both for answering that. And so that leans into my second question quite quickly. What is it that you guys look for, both at Born to Ball and in the academy setting? What is the je ne sais quoi, as the French would call it, that makes you think there might be a player there?
So for me, like I'm known for having my biases. Like I like creative players. That's me. And there's some coaches that like players that are effective, that will do as they're told, that can strike the ball hard, that can win duels, and will do it that and respond well to certain coaching styles. But for me, looking at, like, if you're asking me the question about what I like and what I look for, it can be like the person I'm referring to that Andrew knows wasn't technically very good. But you could see he was growing into his body. Legs were long, skinny, But he had something about him, and he had a real drive and desire, kept turning up. Parents wanted to say, what can we do? What can I do to help him? So he come to ball. We've done one-to-ones with him as well on his target areas. And he was quick, not particularly strong, but you could see he was a good mover. And and he got himself to a place where he's been signed at a club. And then you might see someone that's like really technical. I mean, like I said, I like technical players, but I can also respect players that are really effective and big, and you need to work with them on the technical side of it. So for me, at ball to ball, there's no one size. There's no, if you're a good player or you see something that we can help you with to push you on, then you're welcome to the sessions. Obviously, if you get players that are miles off it and they're training with top players, the session breaks down. And then the product breaks down. Do you understand? If you're passing to someone, you're passing. Not we do many passing patterns, but there is elements of like where the boys are passing to each other, blah blah blah. And it might be a passing pattern, for example, but if it's breaking down all the time, it's no good. So there is a certain level of where it's like they need to be at technically to be able to attend. But like I said, I do the under 8s at Charlton as well, so it's under 8s and under 11s I do. And obviously the under 8s season is why that's important in academy football is because that's under 9s is the first year they can sign a contract. So that for me, that is around looking at what they're going to look like when they're older. Okay. What their attributes are.
Yeah. Are they similar to what Junior's saying, really? Focus, effort, enjoyment, expression. I think Junior's kind of touched base with everything else, honestly. But yeah, I do like a boy who's focused and enjoys the game and is willing to learn.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no more questions. Tom, go on. Thank you.
Boys, I've got a couple of questions from my side, and more for me is really on sort of born to ball, and obviously you've done an amazing job sort of starting that from scratch, and I know the kind of boys that you get in there, keeping those sort of the quality high. In terms of what do you want Born to be sort of going forward? Obviously, you know, you are where you are now. You know, what does the future look like? Does that become a potentially evolve into a club? Does that just stay as a coaching environment? You know, what is the next for Born to Ball? How does that grow? Does that grow into sort of JPL? Does that grow into a club, or are you just keeping it from to a coaching facility?
So these are conversations that are like the kind of ongoing, but we want to continue to grow it. Because it's a good, what we're doing is good now, and obviously you get lots of people that there is a lot of interest, and it's a case of like kind of deciding where we do take it from. Do you employ more staff? Do you, for the personal touch at the moment, the boys cover the relationships they've got with Jevaze, with Declan, with myself. But as you're growing it, obviously you're going to have certain staff members in. So there's a lot of conversation we're having at the moment about where we best take it forward in the new year. But that's exciting. That's exciting, Tom, to be honest with you, because it's like there's certain people that in our field, they get sponsorship. They can do this, they do that. So we're having conversations at the moment, to be honest with you, mate, about where we take it. But Jevaze might have some other bits and pieces he want to add on that. But for me, it's quite an open pathway. It's open to like an open future, to be honest with you, in terms of where we take it, because I love the way we deliver, happy with the sessions, happy with the quality of the players. But yeah, you want to continue to grow it. So it's what that looks like. There's certain bits and pieces we could do better as well around how we kind of in certain areas. So yeah, look to keep improving and growing. Yeah,
look, I think as well, what I see from you guys, you deliver high quality training in those sort of academy level group sessions or individual, and it kind of reminds me of what our friends are doing in East. And there's not a sort of a lot of people that truly care about the development of a player. And I think you see a lot of people ultimately They're hiding behind brands. They're creating these kind of false environments and clubs where, for me, football's becoming elitist, and it's the sport that everyone should be able to play, and ultimately, people are priced out of playing for certain clubs, and there's sort of, won't name any names, but some of the prices that have been kind of chucked out there are astronomical. So I think when you've got people that truly care about the development of kids, the development and giving people the opportunity, I think sometimes you kind of might be missing a trick because you've got such a way with the kids. I talk that from my own son's experience. We've managed to talk for stay in contact since Gents was with you, but we've got friends that are name dropping, but are Proverbs, and they've done an incredible job. They care about the boys, they care about the pathway, they care about delivering high level coaching and opportunities for the boys. And I think there's still a massive gap in the market where people don't exploit the parents and the kid. They're there not just sort of to line their own pockets, they're there to give people opportunities. And I just didn't know if the Born to Ball will kind of evolve from being just a great coaching facility.
Yeah, I do think in future, definitely could potentially build showcase teams and get those boys who are, dedicated to the game, committed, have shown their commitment to their development and progress as well. That is something that I do think we will venture into at some point. And yeah, kind of just making sure the environment, I'm big on the environment. So it is kind of, we could scale it and grow it. But the method that we do that has to be well thought out and properly executed.
No, nice.
Nurturing relationships with the clubs, with the boys, even like little things. But there is boys who have been invited to tournaments that are kind of, a league that they haven't experienced before, and they get that, from being a part of Born to Ball. At yesterday's event, we took a lot of unsigned boys. They got an experience to play against academy teams. That's something that, again, they've earned, as well as, now they get to experience and look back on and be proud of themselves. And it's a pathway for development for them. They're getting seen by such and such clubs.
So, Tom, we're going to have a strategy meet. We're going to have a strategy meeting, yeah?
100%, mate. 100%. I'll be there. I think the last one for me is that there's a lot of focus around the younger age groups. You've got kind of pre-academy, and then people then get into the ages where our boys are now. But I'm kind of seeing a huge gap in the market from sort of like the 13s to the 16s, where having someone with life experiences as a coach, also played at a high level, where people need to put an arm around some of these people. They've got huge potential, but they might have just sort of fallen off, down the wrong path. And I really think that that's an area where I see a huge gap in the market. Is that something where you've kind of seen as well, especially where you are in terms of your location? There must be so much talent out there that doesn't necessarily get the opportunity to be seen either. And with coaches that have either played, you've obviously looked after 13s to first team and FA Cup junior, and then obviously Jevaze, your own life experiences, just to put an arm around people, give them an opportunity, a second chance in the game for some of these showcasing events, for example, for Born to Ball.
Yeah, it's an interesting age group, and I think we've been so focused on service, like obviously because this is part of what I do. Obviously, I'm an academy coach, so obviously I've got a focus there as well, and so it's like I'm so focused on delivering sessions, the planning of a session, the planning of the setup of balls, or how it's structured, blah blah blah. I think the wider picture, it would be good to look at. And you make a great point about 13s to 18s. I think there might be the odd one that gets recruited in, like into, but in terms of providing an opportunity for them and guide them on the right path, and there's a gap in the market. I think there potentially is, yeah. So that'd be one on the notes when I look back on this, Tom. That might be something that we kind of look to go into. But I think everything needs to be, like, as Jevaze touched on, like, well thought out. If I'm being honest, because anything that I'm involved in, I don't go into it and it's not going to succeed. I mean, if I'm doing something, it has to be something that I can see, I can give the time to it, and it's going to grow at the right time. So it's a case of where we decide to kind of take it. But that 13s to 18s, there are a lot of boys that either stop playing or they don't get the right amount of coach, the right type of coaching or what they need as individuals. So yeah, it's it's a great point you make, mate, about 13s to 18-year-olds. Yeah.
Hello. Junior, Jevaze. I've met Junior a few years ago. I know Declan for a long while, with his time at Palace with Caden. And obviously met Junior a little bit when Caden came to Charlton. To be fair, before Born to Boy even started, Junior, I was raving about you a long time before this even came about. I said I liked the way you coach and the way you spoke to the boys. And when Andrew came down in obviously his boys' trial period, I spoke a lot about you as well, saying, you know, how good a coach you are. And I think Harris will thrive underneath you. So I think it's a win-win situation all around for you guys. And I'm so happy it's happening.
Thanks, my man. And when your son popped his head in, I remember he used to be, did he go to QPR for a period of time, your son?
No, I worked at QPR for a little while, so he probably
okay.
You
had the badge on though.
Yeah.
I knew there was a connection. Yeah.
So my question is, you talk about holistic coaching, yeah, and I have this really not pet peeve just when group sessions come about. I don't think it's a one size fits all. I just don't think it is, because every single boy needs the same thing. And I think, talking to parents and my experiences, I prefer sessions or coaches that actually want to tailor a session that benefits my son. So what I will say is, how do you guys do that in a group session as such, where one parent might say, my son wants to work on XYZ, another parent's got ABC. So how do you combine that in your sessions that make it obviously appealing to people to keep coming back as well?
That's a good question. So for me, like, the parents will sometimes send me their kids' IDPs. So like their individual development plans, they'll send me that. So within a session, what I'll do is I'm working on, so for example, it might be a finishing session, but that boy's target might not be a finishing session, but I'm working on his left foot. Or it might be, there just would be lots of opportunities to finish if it's a transition practice or a possession practice. Say, for example, it's a possession practice. His IDP is creating space for himself as an individual. So because I know what that player's target is, I'll work with him specifically as an individual on that. So the session's for everybody, but he's still getting that individual stuff that he needs to work on. So I've got an awareness of what they need to do. So for some people, everyone's learning, everyone's part of the session. But if I've got the player's IDP point and we've had a chat with the parents, I will specifically work with that player and have a little quiet chat with him while the session's going on about certain bits and pieces. So yeah, that's how that works.
Cool. Leading to parents as an example. So when a parent says to you, Junior, Jevaze, I want my son to be successful, or my daughter, what do you think they actually mean when they say that?
Jevaze?
Well, yeah, again, success in what capacity? All of it's measurable. You know, are they enjoying their playing? What level are they competing at? So you have to know the player and kind of where they're at to gauge what kind of success they want. You know, scoring 10 goals, great, but if you're way above that level and playing in a low league, then in comparison, you know, if you're in the elitist of environments, could you do the same thing? Would you get the same success?
And I think me and Andrew spoke about this a lot about certain players. We speak about, we've done my showcase team, for example, and we talk about parents. They want their child to play in centre forward or left wing or in the centre of the park. And we say to them, but we feel they have more success maybe as a defender. And we spoke to parents and saying, look, what is success for you? What we see is it scoring goals, is it defending goals, is it making challenges? Like we spoke to parents, make it say success comes in different forms. It's all great being a striker and being the goal scorer and the star of the team, but how about keeping clean sheets? How about dominating midfield? So we speak about that in terms of parents, and parents speak to me a lot about, but I want my son to be a centre forward that scores goals. Unfortunately, his attributes don't allow him to do that, but he might be a great defender. Yeah, so we speak a lot to parents about that, about, what is success? Go away and talk to your son about success. What does it look like for you, and what can it be, kind of thing. My last kind of question now is more, I guess, with Junior. You're doing under-8s, under-11s coaching. Coaching or commentating from the side as a coach, what are your opinions on that? Because I saw a comment from a well-recognized coach in the game the other day. He spoke about he doesn't want his coaches to actually talk during the game. They have the whole week for that, and they have half time for that. If it's giving instruction, that's fine. But commentating, saying run here, run there, do this, do that, he doesn't want that. So what are your thoughts or feelings around that?
So every coach is different. Every coach is different. Every environment's different. Like if it's different at grassroots, different clubs like different things. For me personally, obviously I've considered this quite a bit, to be honest. And for me, it's like in possession, I think the players should be making their own decisions. So I feel it's kind of it's minimal. Personally, how I like it's minimal information when they're on the ball. There might be a couple of like little buzzwords that I might give them, but out of possession, at times, if it's around pressing and bending your not bending your run, but half in the pitch, little triggers and stuff like that to get them thinking out of possession. I'll try and help them with, but yeah, there's times in the club that I'm at that if the game is just going on and like the training's just going on, you've done a session and and the boys are just playing, where is the transference from the topic in the actual real game? So at Charlton, we kind of like to at times how the guys have got it at the top is like they want you to coach the game. So if the game got at the end of the game, if it's a match at the end of training, stop, stand still, paint the picture, freeze, show them what they could, like, show them the picture, whatever they're coaching, whatever the point is, and then coach it from there. But it's just about there needs to be ball rolling time of court. For me, there needs to be a good coach, an experienced coach knows what to say and when. The boys don't like it when it just keeps getting stopped all the time. They can't get into a flow. But then if there's nothing at all, and there's no information at all, they might as well just be playing outside with no teacher at all, which is fine. There is a time for that. But that's like I said to you, it's about the skill of the coaches knowing what the situation needs. And I think it does need a bit of both, in my opinion. And if you're talking about a match day as well, what you're talking about as well on an actual match day? Or
it was actually more, I get training to get that. I think more on a match day when it's those moments, it's like, during the game, it's more pressure in terms of the boys on the pressure. The result, we hear about in coaching our academies, it's about development. But we know boys and kids, they don't understand development as such yet. They want to win games. So as much as we say development and success, the boys want to win. They know what it's like to lose. They know what it's like to win. So I guess during those moments in the games where they're playing, so your fault. That's mainly that's the question, really.
Yeah, I don't think well, in the academy environment, consistent commentary is not like it's not the way forward, really, because you're making decisions for them. That's the reality. You're making decisions for them. So if you're trying to do something creative, and I'm talking to you, it takes your mind away from the present in terms of the moment. So you're robbing them, really. If you're commentating all the time, you're robbing them of the ability to make choices for themselves. So yeah, that's not really development.
Cool. Thank you.
Jevaze, do you want to add to that? Or
Well, yeah, for me, similar to what Junior's saying, but kind of briefly what I said earlier as well, is like painting that subconscious so you don't need to do it in the game. So if you've done the right preparation, you know, you've set the expectations, just give a little cue every now and then. You might give a supporting line to someone off the ball. But other than that, they kind of have an expectation as a standard for me. So I don't need to be a commentator. And it is their decision what they do on the ball. But if you've painted pictures and given them subconsciouses before, it's for them to figure it out.
yeah, 100%. I agree with that. I try and do a similar thing with my son. And slightly left field, and a spoiler alert, if anyone hasn't seen The Traitors, turn away now. But I feel like the main protagonist, the main traitor in that show, actually kind of had that kind of mindset that you're talking of, Jevaze, going into the show, had it kind of mapped out and was able to deal with all the challenges that came their way as they arose because of that kind of mindset that she put herself in and placed herself in and kind of prepared mentally. And it's a similar thing to what you're saying in the game or in a session, having the ability to deal with things that arise because you've prepared for it and kind of maybe giving yourself the answer, right? So you're not flummoxed, you're not stressing because you've got some coping mechanisms.
That is exactly it. You've not set an expectation, but there's precedents in place for comprehension of how they're meant to play or how they're meant to be energized. And again, you can add the cues if you can see energy boys, little things that will, you know, just support them and encourage them. But yeah, having those planned out before the game is, for me, why you don't need to commentate and you can just support.
Yeah, 100%. And at the risk of sounding like the parent of a child who is the teacher's pet and giving you an apple, Junior, I do like the way you coach. I do like the way you let the boys know it's coaching time, but try to let it flow. And I do like your actual commentary, your non-coaching commentary, when you just see wow moments and you really appreciate them. And I think that gives the boys energy as well. So,
no, it's again, it's I won't go into the full details of it because, but for me, Harris is coming and he's in terms of, I don't know where he was before. Like I know there's a bit in a couple of different places, but he's coming with coming into a group with a real calmness and a real composure and an ability to learn. He's really shown that, and it's he's got a bright future ahead of him, my man. So it's enjoyable to coach him, is what I would say.
Thank you. And we're going to go into that. So what you guys don't know is we talk about academy journeys. We get parents of academy players on and we talk about their journey. And Dan's played a part in that in his showcase team. He's mentioned we've coached him there. I've coached him at his grassroots club along with a couple of other coaches. And one of the things that I think has led to some of what you're saying there is, especially with like the showcase team and his current or his previous grassroots team, is the responsibility. But giving him the knowledge with that responsibility and seeing how he responds. And he was definitely up for it. And I definitely saw a change in him coming into this because he was ready mentally. And I'm not going to go too much into that now because we've got a whole show on that coming up. But speaking of that, though, that was kind of leads into my next question, I guess for you both, but probably you, Junior, in particular. You mentioned Harris coming in, and that's a trial period. And I think that's a hard thing to do, coming into an established environment. Bonds are built. Experiences live in coaches' memories. There's sentiment. There's parents involved. 3-4 years. Coming in to an environment where boys train 3 times a week, potentially 90 minutes. The intensity is higher. The technical ability is higher. The mental attitude is higher. There's so much more a child coming from grassroots has to deal with potentially in an academy environment boys not wanting to give up their own shirt to let this boy in as well, potentially. You've had it with one of your Born to Ball boys coming in on trial to an academy experience and succeeding. If you could name 3 things that a player should have coming in or work on coming into a trial, what would they be? And also, what 3 things, if there are 3, a parent should be aware of taking their child into a trial as well?
Right, that's a good one. Well, you guys have touched on, I think, firstly, that the challenge of coming into an environment is at any age, it's a new environment. It's one where it is going to be a high level of challenge and stress, might be nerves involved. So I guess the support of the parent and the conversations that you have are massive, like in the car beforehand. Like you mentioned Harris. He was ready.
Yeah.
Like, and I know there was other situations where he hadn't been successful, or things had taken a little while longer. So he'd come, but when he came, he was completely together as a person. Like the level of focus in his eyes, and you can see it. You could see the level of focus in his eyes. So he was ready. And then he was able to perform when people are pressing him. He's able to be composed under pressure. And maybe, obviously I don't know if it's your son, but in certain situations where if a mistake might have been made, and he hasn't made many, but his head might have gone down, but you just see no change in him now. He's like a little mini professional. Yeah. And that's the psychological aspect. So I think for all parents, the best thing you can, and you're in control of that, is getting them prepared mentally for if things don't go well, just carrying on with self-belief. Got to believe in yourself and enjoy the experience. Be yourself. Be yourself is the best advice I can give, because people can go there and try and please this person, that person. We'll see your super strength in the environment. We will see it if it's there. And when mistakes happen, that's still fine, because in an elite environment, they should be able to see through the mistakes. So just be yourself, show what you're about. And even just showing that and showing character is a good attribute to have, because mistakes are going to happen in football. So I'd say, if you're giving me off the top of my head, I think the psychological corner is very big. So if you want to put character into that type of bracket, that's part of the same package. The technical aspect, doing the right work away. What does your son need? Like understanding what your son needs. You'll probably get some feedback throughout the trial. Could work on that as well. But yeah, I think the parent support during that time is massive. Not putting too much pressure on them. And obviously, I know you a little bit from brief chats, and you're quite a calm person. And in terms of a trialist coming in and doing what they've done, like I'd say that Harris is a really good example of someone that was ready psychologically. So I'm not just saying I didn't know you was on here, but if it's a question that's come up naturally. I didn't know you. Obviously, I am his age group coach. Yeah. So it's quite a unique situation actually to have this conversation. But yeah, he was ready. And when I look in his eyes, the way he plays, the composure he shows, the desire he's got, probably from some of the other disappointments he's had, I've just made him in a really good place. And he's flying at the moment. So yeah, psychologically, good support from the parents. And I'd say throughout the trial, if there's bits and pieces that you can see in your eye that you might need to that can help him get a bit of an advantage, then I'd kind of work on those potentially away from the club, but certainly keeping them positive throughout.
Thank you. Jevaze, I'm interested to hear what you think as well on this.
It's kind of seconding what Junior's saying. Psychological is like one of the biggest pillars, I personally believe. Obviously, as a parent, you help with the logistics, the preparation where you can, making sure they're arriving early, not on time. Little things, so those mental preparations are there for them. Those are little things that I put in place as habit personally, but I'd advise it equally. So those things as a parent you can help with logistically if you can, in your control. Other things like nutrition, making sure they've eaten a sufficient amount in a sufficient time period, because these are like, you know, people. You can't expect 100% intensity if they're low on fuel. A car doesn't run without petrol. And what kind of petrol has the car got, you know? So these are things that, as a parent, we can psychologically help with, logistically help with. And seconding what Junior's saying, it's having that eye for what are they missing, what do they need, and helping them with that. And if you can implant that stuff subconsciously so they're not super conscious of it, and you just keep giving them confidence and self-belief, I think you're doing a great job. And I can already tell you're doing that, and I don't know you on that personal level, but as to why your son's results are speaking for themselves, I feel, yeah, you must be touching bases with, if not all, but at least some of those things.
Well, thank you. Like I said, this is our 50th show. We've had a lot of guys on here, and we've picked the brains, and it wasn't for that purpose, but we've picked the brains of some of the best minds in this ecosystem. And I like to try and take the best of what the guys have said. And yeah, everything you said, everything Junior said makes sense. And if I was hearing this for the first time, I would write this stuff down or commit to memory and use it, right? And I think I have done some of that stuff. Tom's, when he heard my son was going in, he gave me some pearls of wisdom. Dan gave me some pearls of wisdom. Dan was one of the guys that actually told me it's time to take the handbrake off. Because I think I was nurturing, trying to get the mindset right, trying to get everything right. And again, I'm going into this now, but we're going to have a whole show on this. But I have to shout Dan because FP, Fearless Football Players, his showcase team, he gave my son a lot of responsibility. But nothing that he couldn't handle, that he was ready to handle. And
what type of responsibility did you give him, Dan?
Because has natural leading attributes, and my son's a goalkeeper, so it was about making sure he took control of the back line, making sure that he was the pillar. Yeah, when things weren't going right, he had to be I wanted it between him and my son to be the one that showed character. That if it wasn't, just keep going through the hard times. Make sure that you're the boys that when someone looks at you from the side, from a near, they can see what you're about. And just play without fear. And that's the whole purpose of my showcase team. The name was Play Without Fear. Go out there and play. If you make a mistake, don't worry about it. Keep going again. Because the great players make loads of mistakes. Yeah, and not scared to make mistakes and going again. And Harris is just so strong-minded and driven that he doesn't want to make mistakes. So when he does it, you know the next time it's not going to happen twice. You know for a fact with Harris, it's not happening twice. And that's one thing I love about Harris. And the relationship he built with Kaylin over the last couple of years is just good. They're great friends. They have each other's back. And obviously, I'm kind of biased because Kaylin's a goalkeeper. So I want to make sure he's protected at all times. Yeah. And having Harris there was a brick wall. He won't like it, but he was my French international that plays for the team I support in the red side of the northwest Merseyside, by the way. Yeah. He hates when I say that, but that's why I refer him to.
Oh, brilliant. Well, it shows, my mum. It's showing. And what you've said is what that's why it's interesting because I can see elements of what you just touched on around the psychological side and the natural desire to defend. It's something me and my partner at the club observed. The desire to defend. He's got a real desire to defend. So it's super interesting the impact that you've had on him. So well done to you.
Brilliant. Let's take it off of him because I'm feeling very awkward now that so much praise is going his way. And when he listens to this, he won't know what to do with himself. Tom, I see you've taken yourself off mute.
No, look, I think, and just hearing the way that, Junior is and how he coaches, exactly how he's come across in this pod is that he generally cares. The boys go out there and fight for him. And I think, I'll go back to it is that having someone like that who's the coach, who cares about the development of the boys, that's only going to help them strive going forward. And I just wish there was more people like him in football. I also think that there's an element that we haven't really touched on, which is the futsal side, which I know that's quite dear to his heart, really. And obviously, how does that, entwine with the academy side? Do you feel like that's getting more exposure now in the game? Do you think that the skills are transferable? Do you think that's something that you need to be able to have exposure to move forward within the game as well? Because I know that's got different qualities that you need, but I think they're transferable throughout the journey within football. So I'd love to hear, and I think parents ultimately need to understand that there's a lot of focus around sort of just looking at football, but futsal, I think if you can hone in on other areas, they all complement. So you've got your strength and conditioning, which is super important, the plyometric stuff. But futsal, how does that help with the journey?
Tom, I'm so glad you brought it up, to be honest with you. So I'm the futsal lead at Charlton as well. But it's a sport that, when you think about the game, it's a game the boys love. The boys love it. Your boy Tom will play it. The Premier League have it as part of their games program, as part of their tournaments. And it's like the pitch size is smaller. So you have to make quicker decisions, okay? Because the game's quick. There's less players, so you get more touches. You have to be clever with your movement because there's less space. You've not got big spaces just to drift away. The movements have to be like subtle movements, maybe to get ahead of your defender, hide behind. So it's a lot of you have to be more cunning. So it's like five-a-side on steroids is what futsal is. Even the finishing, because of the size of the goals and the weight of the ball, there's different types of finishes, like use a toe poke. They play a lot of it in Brazil, futsal, and even at ball to ball, we had the England's most decorated futsal player, Rione Medina. So I'll show him. He came down because I met him on my futsal UEFA B, and he was a footballer, Brazilian, signed to Sporting Lisbon as a 17-year-old. Played with Cristiano Ronaldo. So imagine how good a player he must have been, Tom, so to get signed out of Brazil. So he's a top player. And then he found his way into futsal, and he went on to play for England. So we had him down, and he does a lot of stuff around the transferable skills between futsal and football. He goes out to Real Madrid, all of these clubs. So we brought him down to Charlton to deliver a session as well. And so there are a lot of transferable skills, my friend, and I'll bring some of it into Charlton. So in the program at Charlton, we do it. We enter some tournaments, but we have it we have it 3 Fridays in a row as a block, and then another age group will have it because we have a hall just off site at the University of Greenwich where we do it. But yeah, the boys love it. It's a great tool, Tom, to develop footballers. Like I said, quicker. It's quicker, tight space, less players, more touches on the ball. It's fantastic as a tool, and they play it a lot in Brazil and Spain, and you've seen the intelligence of some of those and the technical skills on some of those guys in terms of the way they control the ball differently. It's a heavier ball with scoops. So I could talk for ages about futsal, but I'm not going to say any more. It's just I believe it's a fantastic development tool, and it's something that the Premier League have brought in. I still feel there's room for it to be used in a better way. But it's certainly a tool that I believe in, that it's a great game in its own right, but it can be used to develop elite footballers without a doubt.
Yeah, I'm a big sort of, I guess, fan in some respects. I think that it could be, because ultimately some academies don't allow, once you're signed to play grassroots football, but football and futsal are not classed in the same category. So even if you're a signed academy boy, you can still play futsal. And I think there's also a huge gap in the market to create futsal leagues on a Saturday that could be at a super high level. And obviously it helps with sort of gaining minutes. And obviously you touch on different areas that can help your child or the team that you've got into what they do on a Sunday. So it's something that I've kind of been looking at, and I think that ultimately there could be an opportunity to open something up on a Saturday and make it a lot bigger event.
Well, obviously I know your boy Tom, and does he play much futsal or not?
Yeah, well, at our place, our club, they do that it's changed now, but through the foundation phase, it's every third Friday they have a session, and you're there for the whole session. So it'll be from say 5 till 7:30 is the session. So you're in a futsal hall for the whole time. So there is exposure there to the game. I just think that's great, but I would like to sort of introduce that more on a Saturday, because I think that could be a good opportunity to develop and sort of transfer.
outside of his club, you mean?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, and as well, you've got to bear in mind as well. It's like anything, you're at the hands of the teacher, and sometimes people haven't got the qualifications or they're not experienced to deliver it. They might just have a futsal ball and 5 players and just play. But there is skill, there is certain movements that and formations and shapes and ideas that futsal coaches coach that are beneficial. So yeah, it's an interesting point that you raised, my man, about doing stuff outside.
Yeah, cheers. I'll hand the forum over, guys.
Cool. Yeah, that's an interesting piece. My boy just got back into the futsal. It helps him in his earlier years, and we've just got back into it now, and I could see the value and the benefit that he's getting from it. So for me, just in terms of the area that you work in, South London, on this show we're quite Essex, East London dominant, and like to branch out and get some of you guys on the other side of the river. You might not detect it in my tone, but I am South London born. I don't know bred, but I'm born. So SC1, Guy's Hospital is my birthplace. Used to play for Burgess Park as a young kid. Used to live in Elephant, and just wanted to get your thoughts on South London football in general, because there's always a topic of debate around where the borders are at, and perhaps you might be more inclined to go with your South London because you're from in that area. But what's your thoughts on South London football compared to other areas, say East, North? Do you think that's where the borders are, as it were, or?
Jevaze, I'll let Jevaze go first on this one.
I definitely think there is ballers everywhere. Let's get that out there first of all. But as a South London boy myself, I can say for what I've seen, the environment and the competitive nature of the South London boy, I think does have psychological benefits at some points in the game. The intensity, the combativeness, you could say, that's just in character building. Just through, again, sometimes it's little things that you can look at abstract, but struggle in adversity, but getting through that, playing football's fun, a release, an outlet as such. So they enjoy it a lot here, and I think boys who are enjoying what they're doing thrive. So and a lot of the South London ballers are, predominantly in those sort of environments where it is high intensity, it's high competition. They're all kind of striving for the same thing. So it, as an area, does generally tend to produce a lot of quality. I can say that from what I've seen. I do think there is that in other areas, but I'm just not sure on the scales as to, you know, we haven't got the quant data on where most boys are signed from. But I do think, yes, South does produce a lot of really quality because of the incubation over here. Like lots of development centres at the pre-academy phase and growing kind of access to coaching from really, really young. You know, the little kickers and all these other establishments, We Make Footballers, etc. There is those sort of things over in the area as well.
Yeah, now East London's got a lot of players. East London's got a lot of players. Yeah, Southeast London I've always lived in Southeast London, so it's like it's all I've known really. So like I'm used to that area, but I've coached obviously in Brighton, so I've know they've got a different demographic of player. But yeah, now East London is like, I know we get a lot of players from East London. If I'm honest, we're at Charlton. We do get a lot of East London boys. So yeah, I respect East London. Got a lot of players. Obviously, I live in Southeast London, so I'm obviously going to say we've got a lot of hungry, talented, driven boys down here. So yeah, but East London has that as well. So yeah, respect both sides, I think.
Yeah, I just wanted to. Dej is not only that's Dej's question, but I thought let me just ask that. To be honest, I could probably ask another 5% questions, but we don't have time. I'll probably let Andrew ask the four corner one. But I suppose the last one that I'll leave you guys with is, in terms of academy football, parents wanting to get in. Is there an optimal time? Do you think that parents should be trying to get their kids in as soon as possible? And also, should they be aiming for Cat 1 or Cat 2 and 3 as well? Do you see boys progressing from the Cat 2s and 3s, I suppose, through to scholars and ultimately pro contracts? Or is it primarily Cat 1 that we should be looking at?
Yeah, well I work at Charlton, so for me, it's a great environment. Like if you look at the data as well around like players that make it into the first team professionals, yeah, like not just first team at Charlton, but actually minutes in top league. Like Charlton's right up there in terms of Europe, is right up there in terms of like in English clubs that produce players that have gone on and played in like the top leagues in Europe. Like Charlton's right up there. So I'll have to get you the stats, the actual official statistics on it. So yeah, we play Cat 1s every week. Like today was at Brighton. Well, I wasn't there at Brighton. Last week, where was I? Bournemouth. We play them all the time and have good success against them. So like Category 1, Category 2. If it's a good environment, it's a good environment. And yeah, Charlton certainly is known for like punching above its weight, if you want to put it like that. But maybe because I've grown up in Southeast London, to me, I enjoy competition. So it's a competitive game, football. So all the boys, whenever they're playing, for me, they're going to be competitive. So and in terms of the how can I put this? The equipment, the facilities, and all that type of stuff. Yeah, you can have nice facilities and stuff, but you need the learning needs to be there as well. So for me, I can only speak well as I'm currently at a Cat 2. I've been there for like this is my 5th season. I've been at Brighton as well, which is a Cat 1, which is a great environment, amazing facilities, good people, and a different type of environment. Where it's based is a different type of environment to where Charlton is. So to have those two experiences is amazing. And they've, like I said, you're talking about the demographic of the players. That's very different from the South Coast to like Southeast London. It's very different. Hence the reason I started at Brighton, because I was in a development centre. They were trying to get players. Brighton were looking at players more towards the London way. So every club has its positives, and there's areas there where it could maybe be a bit better. But yeah, for me, there's pathways. People, especially people, aren't signing from abroad as much as well. So there's a lot more transactions that occur from club to club. Cat 1 signing Cat 2 players, Cat 1 signing Cat 3 players. So wherever you're at the journey, just be grateful that you're where you are, and just keep pushing to be the best player you can be.
Yeah,
That'd be my answer, OC.
Cool, appreciate it. Jevaze, you can come on that, but just a quick one. You got parents that are outside. Obviously, the under-8 season comes, and you want to get your boys and girls, well, boys at under-8s in. Do you think that there should be a real, like, I know the stats would tell you that as the age groups go up, it's harder to get in. But do you think that we should be really turning the screw to try and get our kids into academies if they're not, or be a bit more patient and strategic with it?
Well, if you're asking me as an under-8 coach at Charlton, and obviously I'm an academy coach, you can only do what you can do. Like, you can only do what you can do, and there is a big between now and April. That's when we can sign players. It does become quite a frantic time for parents, because it's do I take him here? Do I take him there? I've been offered here, but I want to be offered there. I've got no offer at all. It's a lot for parents to kind of to consider. So, like, for me, and this is why obviously we do under-8s at ball to ball. It is a part of it is supporting those parents during that time. If they've already been offered, that's great. So we've got offered boys that train with us, but there's also some boys that hope to kind of make that, we can help them get to that step. So it is and if they don't, that's fine. We'll still keep working, and we'll get you there where you need to be. So so for me, it is about, like, not getting too stressed about it. Like, because once this time period is over, life goes on, as you know, OC. Like Isaac the other day at the tournament, very, very good. I don't believe he's signed at the moment, is he? But he's a very good player. And who knows where that will lead itself with as long as he keeps enjoying it and has a love for the game. He's going to get bigger. You're a big guy, so who knows? He might go further than someone who got offered as an under-8. There's no one's got a crystal ball, so it's that bang under-8 all the way through. No, that's not the case. If you're doing the right work outside, which is where I believe that what we're doing is quite really good, because obviously I know the system. Jevaze has got a boy in the system. Declan's club as well, Cat 1 club. So if you're doing the right work outside, you can make what you want of yourself. Harris has just proved that. Harris has been signed. I won't talk about him anymore, but he come through late. Great work from Dan, doing the right work. What does he need? He's got the right work there. So people do get caught up in it. Like, I need to be here. I get it, because everyone on Instagram, I'm here, I'm there, I'm at this club, I've got this kit on. I get it. You can get caught up in it. But in the real world, the reality is, if it doesn't happen, that's also fine. It doesn't mean the journey stops there.
Yeah, exactly what Junior's saying. I think focus on their enjoyment and, again, their development. More than the system or the academy. Think about the boy. Is that what they need right now? Are they prepared for that commitment? And if not, that's fine. I know and am in contact with people who've been in grassroots up until 15, but then they get a scholar at 16. And, they've had no academy experience, but there's boys getting released at 15 who've been in the academy since 8. So there isn't a one glove fits all when to get in the academy, for me personally. But I do think having the exposure and the games programs that they have does help set a precedent for expectation of what the game looks like later on in life, if that's something that they want to do.
There may be, it's a good point. And you said it might be difficult. There may be gaps in the learning. I think we've had this discussion at Charlton with the head of coaching. There may be certain gaps in their learning if they've not been part of the system. So it might be harder, but it definitely isn't impossible. And that's why, especially if you're doing work outside, and there might be someone that's just an absolute athlete, and then and that's what someone needs, a bit of technical work. So it's definitely not impossible, but there potentially are gaps in learning if you're not in the system. So that would make it a bit harder. But yeah, from my experience, I know boys that are getting signed. There was someone that got released and then got re-signed as an under 14 quite recently. I know of a boy. So it's like, you know, no one's got a crystal ball. So yeah, enjoy the process, enjoy your children, do the nice work with them, like, and don't put too much pressure on it because it will naturally fall out of its and don't get caught up in that Instagram hype nonsense. Just keep it look after your son.
It's the fear sometimes of missing out, and I've been like open to OC about this. I think his boy is very talented, and I think he's got a bright future. I also see that, you know, through a multiple of different clubs that you look at, is that there's also children that come in at the beginning, and then there's a certainly they get complacent. They're within the journey. That hunger isn't burning because they've got the nice tracksuit, they've got the coat, they go to all these lovely pitches, these training grounds, and ultimately everything's taken for granted. But you've got, you know, that fire in someone's, you know, young boy or girl who has got rejection early, which none of these other kids have had that rejection early. And that fire's burning, and ultimately they can come in later down the line. And I think people should see it sometimes as an advantage that you might not necessarily have got that opportunity, because that means you can tailor your needs or their needs. You know, you can create a program for them, you know, because if they're not moving correctly, you can get someone to help them with that. If they need some work on the ball mastery, you've got that. Do you want to put them into the Lions Den in terms of like that group session where, you know, they're maybe coming up to someone who's really physical? So I don't think there's ever a cut-off point. I certainly see that scholars, like you say, that have never even been in an academy journey, and I think there's too much hype around getting in early doors. I'm not saying that that's an issue, but I do think sometimes that you should let the journey be the journey, and ultimately. If you're good enough, I'm always a believer in whatever field you're in, the cream will always rise to the top.
But that, Tom, that comes to like the parent and the support of the parent as well, like the attitude of the parent. Because if it's this world that we're living in, like the whole Instagram world, if you're seeing everything everyone else is doing, it's gonna feel more detrimental, like if you're not in there. So yeah, it's the sign of the times as well. Like anything in the world, it's like wanting what someone else has got because they're showing this, they're showing that. They might not even be pre-offered somewhere. They might just have the kit on. It's just like getting wrapped up in what everyone else is doing. It shouldn't really be the focus. It should be about what your son's doing, where your son's at, the right place for him, and have him doing the right work and enjoying himself. That's it. Sure. But I understand there is a lot of like hype and a little stress, and it's natural because you want your child to be signed. It is a nice thing, but it isn't the be all and end all. But yeah, at the time it feels like it. But once that period's done, then you have to look at what the next steps look like.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think Diego, who was on our pod a couple of weeks ago, said parents are their children's project manager in this journey. To your point, Tom Jr., if your son doesn't or daughter doesn't get signed, what do they need? Let's work on that. Born to Ball is somewhere they could go. Futsal, somewhere they can go. And by the way, Tom, I went in on that futsal situation, so let's talk about that off camera. OC, I've got a statement for you. You're either with us or you're with them. This talk of Guy's Hospital, Morley's, and refill. No. You're either with us or you're with them. Okay.
He was born on this side, man. He was born on this side. I'm
Choose your
for him.
side.
Yeah, like this, I'm quite fluid with it. Like, listen, I'm Nigerian when I need to be. I'm from South when I need to be. I'm from East London when I need to be. I'm from Essex when I need to be in it. So it just depends, innit?
I hope you got that auto pay then. I hope you got that set up, mate. Right. So listen, guys, I appreciate your time. It's been a long one, but it is our 50th episode. And I'm going to take the liberty of asking you a few more questions, quick fire questions. You can either answer them individually or as Born to Ball. But I will warn you, some of these questions may validate or invalidate you as coaches, and people may not show up to Ball. So answer the questions wisely. The first one is, who are your GOATs, or individually or collectively? I assume that one's an individual one. Junior, who is your GOAT?
You're going to come to me first. What, my personal one, yeah?
Your personal GOAT, yeah.
You could go for an obvious one, yeah? Like, it would, for me, it has to be that there's only there's one, really. I've got a personal favorite as well, which I'll give you after, but the GOAT for me is Messi. Like, for me, he is like, he's beautiful at his best. It's just amazing. Like, literally, I don't think anyone's moved like him. People talk, obviously, I wasn't around when Maradona was there, but the things he used to do is almost like literally like a computer game. But he was creative with it, the way he moved, the way the ball was stuck to his foot. Yeah, I ain't seen that. And a personal favorite of mine is Luka Modric. So you can kind of get where I'm going with my bias as small technicians. Yeah. But yeah, Luka Modric, like, obviously, yeah, he went on and won the Ballon d'Or. And obviously, yeah, there's only one player that I've got their shirt. Then his shirt on his name on a shirt, and it's his assigned one. So yeah, he was top. Yeah, Messi
and Luka, both Ballon d'Or winners, both La Liga winners. Yeah, I like that. Jevaze?
Oh, I'm going to be controversial. No, I'm joking. I am equally Messi. I like for the technical, the brain, what he's executed, his career. Yeah, without question. But as a different kind of profile, I do enjoy the era of Henry and his development, seeing that actually.
I think we're breaking up, Jevaze. I think we're breaking up here.
Yeah. You can say what you like, you know, the quality in the player speaks for itself. And then if we're being broader, Ronaldinho has to get a mention.
You're clearer now. You're clearer. You're back.
No, equally. He, for me, was someone who I could put him in my GOAT category. Flair, creativity, just genius with the ball. Yeah, exciting to watch. That's the kind of football I like to watch.
Yeah. No, listen, I like Henry now. He's on CBS.
You didn't like him when he was scoring against you. I get it. I get it.
No, he was amazing. He's amazing. I like his swagger as well. So to be fair, yeah,
it's where he carries himself. All those little things for me. Yeah.
And his mentality. And he did a great podcast with the CEO, Diary of a CEO, Steve Bartlett? Yes, Stephen Bartlett. And he speaks about his relationship with his dad. I urge everybody, listen, I shouldn't even be saying listen to another podcast, but Henry on there, it's a great listen. So I urge everyone to check that. Yeah. I can't argue with the others. Messi, Modric, quality. CR7 is acceptable, but yeah. Anyway, we keep it moving. Brilliant. Guys, listen, you have been amazing. We could have gone on. OC's got more questions. Tom's got more questions. I've got more questions. Deji had to drop off, and I know Dan's got more questions. But this is our final question. And with this question, you have to help us with the answer. Right? It will make more sense once I ask the question. Now that you've been on, can you think of a guest that we should have on? And before you answer that, you have to help us get that guest on.
I've potentially got one.
Yeah.
I've potentially got one. It's a good one because particularly for Tom and around development, and it'd be and I think I could get him on for you. It'd potentially be England's most decorated futsal player, my man, Rioni Medina. I could potentially get him on for you, maybe. I think it'd be a great guest for you, Tom. He'll break down his journey as a footballer, what that looked like for you out in Brazil, what they do out in Brazil, and then actually making probably one of the 1% that actually get signed to a European club, and then what futsal looked like for him in Europe, because obviously he grew up in playing it out in Brazil, and then his journey, his career, and then what he does now in terms of the programs that he delivers, and it's got implemented in other countries, and they're going around and speaking to FAs and some of the biggest clubs in the world, Real Madrid, Juventus. I think that'd be a good one for you guys. So that's one I'd probably recommend.
Perfect. So no pressure, but we're getting the futsal GOAT of the UK on the show next week. Thanks to Junior. No pressure.
Yeah, we'll make it happen. Don't worry. I'll make it happen. Maybe not next week, but I'll speak to him.
No, perfect. It's all good. Listen, guys, if you're still locked in, and this has been our longest ever show, it's our 50th show. It's a fun-packed, informative show. There's vibes in the room. If you're still locked in, please like, subscribe, hit the notification, and leave a comment. If you're listening on the audio feed, you know what to do as well. 5-star reviews. We only give you 5-star content. Please tell a friend to tell a friend. Listen, you're true to this. We know that. But please introduce somebody who's new to this, sorry. And guys, listen, Born to Ball, where can we find you before we go?
Jevaze.
Cold Harbour Leisure Centre.
Instagram
at born.to.ball.academy.
Brilliant. They've been Born to Ball. We've been Ball at All Cost, and we are out.